Senator?
Well, my hope is that we just started.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Walk up a little more, please. We're tied down. Yeah.
My hope is that we just started a new Chicago tradition of after the election, and maybe we just started it at the Billy Goat. And Alexi just gave me a book called The Wisdom of Abraham Lincoln, which I take very much to heart. As you remember, during the campaign, he called me when my stepfather Robert died. And I began off camera to like him. And you saw more of that here today. And so the people spoke. But I recall that 46% of Illinois citizens voted for Alexi. And my job is to represent them too.
Would you like to see Alexi get back into politics after this?
I think that's a decision for him. But what I took from the campaign is on camera and through the TV ads, it was tough. But off camera, he's a very likable guy.
Do you think you might work together somehow in the future?
That's what I said. We just exchanged email and cell phone numbers, and I said, don't be shy, because almost half of Illinois voted for him to be their senator. And I think you have to respect that voice. And but also we respect the democratic process, that we have a big, rough and tumble campaign. But then we come together, and my job is, I'm a fiscal conservative, I'm a social moderate. We prevailed as the new junior senator for Illinois. But also, my job is to work with the president, who also comes from Illinois.
He said immigrants were worried about your victory because you don't support the DREAM Act.
Well, I think we should first move with the border control first, and then the rest of the debate, because that will reestablish the trust that the American people have in the system.
One of the things Alexi said was that the biggest thing that would be tough for him to get over was the fact that there was so much attack on his family.
Right.
What do you have to say about that? Were there any apologies exchanged like one of the other guys?
It was a tough campaign. I think we both kind of stood behind how the campaign went, but I think as the saying goes, there's a time for campaigning, and then there's a time for the campaign to be over. And there's a time for governing, which is now. So we made a decision. I prevailed, but I very much respect the men and women of Illinois who voted for my opponent. And my biggest hope from this evening is that I hope we've started a new tradition, that the day after election we respect the decision of the people of Illinois, and we come together as a country. And then in 2 years, we have another election.
How do you reconcile, though, for the public, which has watched these pretty brutal ads on TV? That's the impression you're left with. And yet you've had a moment of love here where you come together. How do you reconcile?
Because my hope is, and when I called Alexi and said, let's do this, or actually he called me, for the concession, I said, let's do this. I don't want, especially the young people of Illinois, to think that everything in American politics is about yelling at each other. Because from what I've seen as a congressman, is in the end you have to govern. And you have to govern calmly. And you shouldn't in any way bring any animosity or hate for the other side. And so the day after the election is the time to start that process. And what I took from Alexi and what I took from the folks that do this well, both on the Republican and Democratic side, is in the end we are Americans first, before we're partisans.
Has there been too much venom in American politics of late?
I think there's a tough amount of venom, but I just saw, I think it was on YouTube, a sample TV ad for the presidential election of 1800. In which the very statements used by John Adams and Thomas Jefferson against each other are in false TV ads. And you see that in the end, democracy is a pretty tough business. But the lesson of the Billy Goat tonight, and I very much appreciate Alexi for being here to participate, is that the time for tough rhetoric is during the campaign, and now the time is to govern. And my main inspiration too is in the armed services, when they shoot at, for example, our veterans in World War II, they weren't shooting at Democrats or Republicans. They were shooting at Americans. And the day after election were all Americans.
You really don't have much time to kind of assemble your troops here before you actually start because of the whole special election thing.
Right.
The lame duck session is probably going to be, a lot of folks are thinking, very important. Do you have a timeline set out yet as far as what you're going to do to assemble the team that you can to get things rolling?
Right. I've just named Eric Elk as head of my transition team for my Illinois operation, and Lester Munson as head of the transition for Washington. We don't exactly know when we'll be sworn in. My hope is as soon as possible, because there's no debate in this election now. We've had a clear victor. My understanding is that the Senate is going to begin its session then in another 10 days. And so my hope is very soon thereafter that the new senator elected for Illinois, which is me, was elected specifically to serve in the lame duck session of Congress, then is able to speak for us.
One more question. This is the last one.
Would it be the week of the 15th? Because you're certified on the 23rd. So you want that week before the certification.
You want it as soon as possible, and certainly look at the legal experts and the process of the Illinois State Board of Elections and our state government. But we've had a special election. A clear result has been issued. And now you want the new senator who is specifically elected to serve the people of Illinois in the lame duck session.
Did you exchange any apologies? Did you exchange any apologies?
Go ahead.
Did you hear the president's speech today, and do you think that he got a message?
I think he did get a message, and I watched every minute of the president's press conference. I especially like what he had to say about earmark spending and more fiscal restraint. And my hope, higher than almost any other in the next 10 days, is that the president take the speaker-elect to Camp David for a long one-on-one weekend, because I think that would really help the country out quite a bit.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Congress